This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. This is the afternoon chat. Just finishing out a decent workout, back into the gym today, which I'm feeling pretty damn good. I wanted to reach out to you guys and to thank you all for supporting the channel. Of course, I've been really focusing on edits and doing more videos, having more videos, better quality videos, things of that nature, and getting the job done, but getting the point across, but at the same time, making it interesting and more creative, I think that a lot of fights should happen in 2026. If they don't happen, I think we should be responsible enough to call them out. Samuel, what's up, my brother? Counterpunch to you. T. Ray, Counterpunch. You know what? Everybody, when you leave a comment, let me know where you're from in this world, because I'm having people from Hong Kong, of course, my New Zealanders, South Pacific Islanders, Australia in the house down under. Tell me where you're from, please, so I will know, represent where you are right now, because it's a beautiful day to be alive. And hit the like button and please subscribe. Bars. That's how we do it. Tony Lyons in the building. What's up, brother? Yes, Kurt, literally just seen you come on live, about to start a bit of running. Ain't done it in a while, but I've been back in the gym for about 5 months. That's good. That's real good, man. Running, I'm going to tell you something about running. If you don't feel like running, walk. If you don't feel like running, walk. That heart is still going to appreciate you on down the line. Because running does do something to your joints, the older you get. And I don't want to pitch the old shit, because I think you can condition and do whatever your mind puts you to do. But if you don't run, or if you can't run, walk. That's my fitness advice for someone that's not a fitness trainer, but used to be. All right, Tony Lyons, England, UK, Jiggy MJ, in London in the building, from Samoa, my brother. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. David Tua was a beast. And guess what? There's still more people to come. Bill Keaveney in the building. What's up, brother? Bill No in the building. That's what I'm talking about. I'm headed to the grocery store, man. I'm excited, man. Like, you guys know I like to cook. You know what I mean? Cooking with Kurt, right? I like to cook. I'm getting some of my second best cuts, and that is chuck eye steak. Just like I cooked yesterday. I didn't eat it though. I sacrificed that steak for a loved one. That's what I did. I didn't eat it, but it was cooked to perfection. I cooked it in garlic, herb, Irish butter, and with some rosemary. The shit was flawless. It was flawless. Trust me, I really don't want to buy IV. Got to need to be fitter. Well, I think, it depends on what you're trying to do. I think that's all about what it is. If you're trying to just have a life change, that's gonna come when your life changes. So if you're the kind of guy that likes to drink Guinness, and don't get me wrong, I love to drink, but I know I can't drink like that because I got shit to do. That's why I know Tyson Fury. Like, Tyson Fury is one of those guys. You hear me talk about Tyson and the people that he's fought, or the people he didn't fight, or whatever. But truth be told, if it was somebody that I would hang around, it would be Tyson Fury, and that shit's dangerous. Because Tyson Fury is one of them guys. I think he goes through levels. It probably starts with Guinness, and then whiskey, and then other shit. So you gotta watch Tyson Fury, because one of my best friends is just like that personality. Like, I love everybody. I want to go out. I want to, meet everyone. I want to get shit faced, and I want to, start some shit. Then I want to go home. Then I want to pass out. Then guess what? I wake up. I may want to do that shit again. That's the type of attitude I think Tyson Fury has. When I seen him kick that damn that taxi that time, I already knew. I said, yeah, we got a wild boy right here. That's a wild boy, Lose a bit around the belly and fitter. Well, you may want to try some fasting. But here's the thing about fasting. Start with fasting with some cold pressed juices. Try a 3-day fast. Do that like once a week if you can, or once every 2 weeks. You'll drop weight like that. You guys know I told you the story. If you guys haven't known, the new people on the chat, I had a bad breakup about a decade ago. That shit felt like I was gonna die. But the point of the story is, I didn't really feel like eating because my stomach was in a knot. I wasn't really interested in eating a lot. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of just walking around and, thinking and moseying about and not eating. I would have to force myself to eat. But what I realized, though, I went out on a date, right? I was still dating and doing it was weird. I was still like dating and going out and stuff, but I wasn't there. You know what I mean? My mind was somewhere else. But I wasn't eating. But what I noticed, I was actually fasting. So it would be 2 or 3 days that I wouldn't eat shit. But what I noticed was I had my center was flawless. You could see every definition of muscle there was to have muscle. When I take my shirt off, them chicks would be like, damn. And I was like, really? How do I fast? Don't eat shit. Drink water. That's it. That's all. And when you come off your fast, start with something light like a soup. That'll help you a lot. You will be surprised. Most people that work out and shit, and you see them, all of a sudden, they had a kind of a round center, then all of a sudden they, you see them, they're all cut up. That's because shit, they haven't eaten nothing. There was nothing that they've consumed, so it gives your body time to work on itself. So everything your body think it was working on, but it does it slower. I look at your body like, let's say, a closet, right? Okay, well, the difference between a clean closet and a dirty ass closet, a cluttered closet. That's like your body. The only difference is your body cleans itself. Your closet don't. That's why it gets so junky and cluttered. Your body, if you don't take anything in your body, maybe except water, water and probably electrolytes, that would help you, But if you wean away from food, all the shit that you say, oh, well, I got the, my colon and all that your liver will then start processing better. It will catch up with the shit that it needed to catch up on. Then it would be burning fat instead of energy, so yeah. Would you square up against me? I don't know. It depends on what you would do to me. I'd probably square up against a lot of people. I think it depends on the situation. You're going to feel drained just drinking water. Just drink black coffee and water. I don't know about black coffee because you don't want to put all that caffeine in your body and you have nothing else in your system. So be careful with that shit too. And you're not talking to a person that likes coffee. I just left Starbucks. I don't drink cocaine's cousin. I get the water. I go there to get the water. And I love the water. It's triple filtered and it's good and all that. So I can understand why they use it to make coffee because, they have to have a clean source of water to have a good coffee. I get it, Black coffee is great when fasting. Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Apataya being ducked by Benavidez. Well, I think here's the thing, people. I know we were going to talk about that. That's been a trending topic. Jai Apataya. My Samoan brother he has, everybody's talking about Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley he did dislocate a jaw from Frazier Clark, but he didn't do it twice in a row. Jai Pataya broke someone's jaw the last fight and then broke someone's neck this fight. So, he's actually a certified bone breaker. That's like, so somebody that has the equalizer, you have to start looking at Jai Pataya. And I'm not even saying it's like Wardley or Wilder, because they're known for their right hand, right? Well, Apataya is doing that with both. This cat's coming in with both hands, and he's doing damage either with that right hook or that overhand left, and he's taking guys out. You see remember what he did to Zorro? Remember Zorro? Remember what he did to him? He knocked that boy out in the first round. And he didn't know he was coming like that. And Jai's punching with bad intentions. Jai Apataya is punching like he looks. Jai Apataya looks like he wants to kill you. You look at Jai Apataya, he has this face where, bro, if you say one wrong thing to me, I'm going to kill you. That's how he looks. And he punches the way he looks, like he wants to kill you. He looks like he wants to kill you, and he punches like he wants to kill you. And him breaking vertebrae and T1s and, bro, that shit's scary. You don't want to mess around with somebody like that. So saying all that about Jai Pataya, okay, the man can punch. Is David Benavidez ducking him? You can't say that yet. Because for one, David ain't in the weight class yet. He's talking about going there. He will soon be there. But damn, don't call the man a duck before he even gets to the weight class. That's one thing. However, people, there's more. Wait a minute. Just wait. He is ducking though. Oh, he's ducking. Either he allowed his team to talk him into ducking, or he made up the idea himself of ducking. He's still ducking. He's ducking Bivol, and he's ducking Artur. He's actually ducking Artur because Artur is actually available at 175 to fight. He's actually available. You know what I'm saying? There is no reason why he can't fight Artur. It's just all of a sudden no longer in the plans or no longer in talks. So when people just stop talking about a certain fighter, you know what that means. That means they're avoiding that fighter. That means they no longer want to take on that fighter. Now you call that ducking, and you find it strange. You're going to a whole nother weight class to leave a planet that you're on. You're leaving Venus to go to Mars. And haven't conquered Venus. What the hell is that about? Bivol's back in training. Yes, he had a successful surgery a couple months ago, but you wouldn't expect him to be ready to fight someone like Benavidez for a unification, especially when Benavidez was talking about fighting Artur Beterbiev. Then all of a sudden, those discussions ceased. Kurt, is ICE throwing the Somalians out? What's going on? Apparently so. I mean, that's not new. That's not a new thing. I mean, ICE has been on a fucking rampage. What else is new? I mean, this is not, nothing new about that. So what? How should I work on my fighter's footwork? Fighter's footwork. Do circle drills. I mean, that's the most common. Do circle drills and then tell them to switch it up. Elena K 547. Hello, Counterpunch to you. Kurt, is the fight on Friday night? Confuses me when it's not on Saturday. The day is the 8th. So that fight will be, damn. Today's the 8th. That fight will be on the 19th. Will be next Friday, right? Yeah. So Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua was next Friday. Mama Lou, counterpunch to you. You know what's crazy? It's it's hot in the car because this is the South, right? The weather's retarded, but it's cold outside. How do you see the fight going? My chest is tight. Man, what you been doing, man? You need to stretch too, man. Tony, you need to stretch. And I say that to anybody, everybody. I don't care how old or young you are or whatever. Learn how to stretch. You know, that's how you tear shit. You don't, you want to go in all tight, but then you your muscles can only handle so much tension. And especially if if you're doing shit and you're pushing yourself and you're not stretching and you're not respecting your muscles, your joints, your ligaments. You might tear something and don't know it. Counterpunch to Conole Robert in the house. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. It's the mushroom man. Asleep on the job. Certified slacker in the making. Chinkara has a brain bleed after the fight. Oh, I didn't know that. Bill, send me that link. I didn't know that, though. I know that he had a broken vertebrae from the fall. I didn't know he had a brain bleed. I don't remember hearing that. I did that before I came out, bro. Running on grass, my chest is tight, like it's getting hard to breathe. Kurt, how are you affiliated with the boxing information? Well, what do you mean? Credible sources, just like everybody else. You say I'm unfit as. Don't worry, man. I mean, you got to start somewhere. I've just recently started watching this show called This Is Us. Pretty interesting show. Funny about it, like a girl that I dated years ago. She was watching it. And you know how you see those shorts? You walk up on those shorts and you're like, oh, okay. And then you see a clip from the short and it all of a sudden makes you want to watch the movie or the show. That's what happened this morning. You look 40 and unemployed. I am 40 and unemployed, actually. That's exactly what I am. I'm unemployed. And it was everything I thought it would be. He works as security of myself. I don't know what that means. I did security back in the day, like for private parties. That's the closest I got to security. Do you live in Texas? Yeah, I live in Texas sometimes. But it's kind of a trick question when you have different properties in different places. So that's the best way I can explain that. Say, hey, do you live in Texas? Yep, sometimes. Jai is not playing. Nah, Jai ain't playing around, man. He's not playing around. He's playing no games, Kurt didn't let Robert in the party because he was too effed up. Yeah, you one of the ones that had to kick out. Come in tripping. You're like, man, why you tripping like that? Sorry, man, I can't let you enter. He's like, come on, dude, please. Stretch and walk every day and you will be good. Absolutely. Stretch and walk every day. Hey, man, that's a good motto. Stretch and walk every day. That should be a slogan. gonna order my meat. Chet Perry, 3384. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Yeah, let me get like 2 pounds of probably like half an inch. Supermarket. Yeah, I'm at the supermarket.
Which one you get? Yeah, bone. They want second. Yeah, third.
Okay. All right. It's weird. You got a lot of the butchers. You can tell people are like people's persons, people's person. You don't have that back there. They asked the dude, he's like, no, I did not. I'm like, what a cocksucker. What a twat. Yeah, man, yeah. How many pounds? 2? 2. Yeah, 2 pounds. So they have to cut those chuck eyes. So if they don't have any out, they have to cut them because it's a particular cut of meat that they're not saying they don't sell. It's just they don't cut them like New York strips or whatever. So they're all bundled, right? Kurt, why do you feel Coley's opponent still hasn't been announced despite it being around the corner? I have no idea. And it tells me if he hasn't been announced, he's a nobody. He's a tune-up. Or they haven't found him yet. They're just, it's a heavyweight. So they don't need, a guy to, a heavyweight fighter doesn't really need to be weighed or make a certain weight. You know what I mean? They just need a body for somebody a lot of time. Have a wonderful day, Kurt. I got to wrap presents before the grandkids get home from school. Elena K, enjoy. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Get me up. But no, man, I think that David Benavidez, he's, him or his people, one of the two. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Because if you got someone like Al Heyman. Al Heyman, I think he's more persuasive than forceful. I think he's, like Don King was more forceful. Don King will blow your car up, allegedly. You'll end up missing with Don King. How do you really think he got Larry Holmes to fight Mike Tyson? He got Larry Holmes to fight Mike Tyson because Don King made him. If you don't do what I say, baby, something's gonna happen bad to you. Yeah. I mean, but I think Al Heyman is more on the persuasive side, But either way, he has the control, so they pretty much do what he says do. So I think when it came to Artur Beterbiev, that wasn't a smart move, so they advised him, being the advisor, to do something else, and that's exactly what they did. All right? That's exactly what they did, So it is what. That being said, right? Bryce Productions, hi. Quad Life, blessings. Matthew Ryan, hello. He says, I jokingly said on one of the Hat Man's live saying by this rate, it looks like Adelaide and Akali will be fighting the likes of Teta and Richard Lardy. Turns out Adelaide is fighting Corte, who's ranked 401. Yeah. I mean, that's what they do, dude. That's what they do, dude. But I mean, Adelaide didn't impress me. Adelaide showed how limited he was, you know? And I mean, he could punch, but also he fought the right guy. The right guy was Filip Hrgović. Filip Hrgović showed that he can take the punch. Now, if Filip Hrgović was chitty, Adelaide would have got him out of there with those barrage of punches that he threw. You know, I think that was the 9th round they fought. You know, nonetheless, I do think that, okay, we have some already. I do think that Filip Hrgović will probably be like the next Joe Joyce, believe it or not. Even though he fought Joe Joyce, you know? Joe just took punches and, you know, he was one of those guys. He was about that life. Damn shame what happened to him. Because Zhilei Zhang, you know, besides the win of Deontay Wilder, you know, he hasn't really looked all that great. He just looked like he was limited. You know, he got that half a gas tank, that quarter of a gas tank. So it is what it is. Michael Hunter fight was a great KO. Did you see it? I saw the highlights, and it would look like a very good KO. You know, I did a video on it. Michael Hunter is still valuable. Well, let me rephrase. Michael Hunter is still dangerous. I mean, they're trying to just decrease his value. They're trying to wait him out. Michael Hunter, you know what? He needs to start fighting and looking shitty and then trick their ass, because if he doesn't start looking bad, nobody will never want to fight him. They'll never fight him. He's always going to be that fighter that they're going to look at and say, nah, we're good. Let's go to the other guy. They're always going to pick the other guy, you know? Because if you notice, the most easiest fights are made between the people with the less risk. It's always that sorry-ass fighter that's fighting everybody in the division. But that fighter that's fighting everybody has no chance of winning. If you notice that, it's always the same shit. Always. It's never, oh man, that's a really good fight. No, we're not getting really good fights. We're getting fights where fighters that are up and coming versus has-been fighters. That's what we're getting. Caballo's getting screwed. Bill, you already know. I think I did a short on that, something like that. He's getting screwed. He's getting screwed. I mean, he's a young fighter, undefeated, you know, good bloke, you know, hell of a body puncher, good boxer. So, yeah, he's doing his thing. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right. And but no, I do think that they're screwing him. They're just, you know, they're either waiting for him to lose, hoping he would lose. You know, they're not giving him a fair shake. He's going to be Joseph Parker Jr. here pretty soon. Because he's in the same boat. It's just, you know, what they did to Joseph Parker was strategized. You know, contamination. You don't contaminate nothing with cocaine, bro. Now, someone mentioned that it could be in the water, you know, but then you're like, well, how did water get in his urine? You know what I'm saying? Like, still, I just don't buy that shit, you know? This man had his kids and family over, Joseph Parker. And in all, you mean to tell me I had time to do some blow, then fight? No, bro, I don't think so. I just really don't think so. That's the way that it goes, because me with my American ass, I would be pissed. I would be cussing people out. I would be pissed off. Cabello needs a new manager. He's fighting a complete unknown fighter, even though he's a top 3 at worst heavyweight in the world. No, he's the second best heavyweight in the world. Who's better than Cabello besides Usyk? Skrilla 50, counterpunch to you. Prove me wrong. Who's better than him? Who is above I get Cabello in the heavyweight division? There's no one else. Parker just got beat. He used to be considered, what, the second? No, he's the second. You know, I find this weird. You have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nobody's there. And you have all the automated stuff. That's okay. There's nobody better than I get Cabello. He's the second best heavyweight. Period.
Welcome. 24.93. $4.99. Touch the item to purchase. Please touch accept wait to continue. Move your item to the bag. $4.91. $5.99.
What we cooking? Bro, I'm simple. Just meat and potatoes. If it was breakfast, if it was earlier, I would
If you have a club card, please scan it now or touch continue to proceed. Your card has been accepted. Your total is $40.82. Please select your payment method. Please wait. System processing. Follow the instructions on the pin pad. Please remember to take your receipt. Thank you. Welcome. Scan items one at a time, placing them in the bagging area.
pity we won't get a Usyk versus Cabello. You know, I do wonder though, the Usyk versus Wilder fight, if it happens or not. But you know what? Karma doesn't overlook anyone. You know, you got a guy like Wilder. He may do the same shit that he's done for the last 10 years. He'll see a good fight. That fight will be something that he claims he wants, and it doesn't happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I hope it happens because it's one of those generational fights. It's one of those fights that he's doing it for the generation. You know, that's a bucket list fight. How it was explained made the best sense to me. When you have a guy like Usyk, and you know, you have that last fighter that you didn't fight, I see nothing wrong with it. Here's the problem though. He gets that fight, he takes that fight, and then what? What happens after that? What happens after that? Dark Slagle, that shit would be crazy. Now that would be karma for your ass because you got two fighters that were considered number one and number two gets beat by fights that they didn't have to take. Not mandatories. Nah, nothing like that. Nothing that forceful. Everything was voluntarily done. Wilder knocks out Usyk, but you know, that's boxing though. That's why I love the fucking sport of boxing. Because something crazy like that could happen because it's unadulterated, it's untamed, it's corrupted because it is unadulterated and untamed, because anything can happen when you got two guys in there and one's trying to get rid of the other. You know, there's no secret law, there's no recipe. We just know what they used to do versus what will they do when they come face to face. And whatever happens, happens. It's an untamed, wild, what's the other word I'm looking for when it comes to boxing? It's just unpredictable. That's an unpredictable situation. When it comes down to Usyk fighting Wilder, Wilder might sway, he might throw some damn punch out of nowhere, catch Usyk, and knock Usyk out. And that shit would be crazy, but then we should then respect, yo, this is boxing. There's no respecter of person, especially from a punch. Just like a bullet doesn't have a name on it. Some idiot could shoot a gun, and that gun can go through 3 windows, hit a park bench, ricochet off a tree, and land and kill some old lady sitting on the porch that normally doesn't even sit on the porch, type shit. A punch could do the same thing. Wilder could throw a punch, and that punch could land, and that's all she wrote. That motherfucker would be looked at as the next George Foreman, even though he's not as old as Foreman was, but it doesn't matter. That would be a hell of a comeback story. That would probably be the best comeback story, because he already has a statue. Bro, people will, man, there have been channels that I haven't seen in years that will probably just explode. People will have meltdowns online. People will cry tears of joy. Deontay Wilder, you know, Telly Givens will probably come back, or she'll try anyway. You know, she'll pop up in the picture. Hey, Deontay. You know, that shit's crazy. This motherfucker's barefooted. It's 50, whatever. But so going the distance is very dangerous. Wilder's power not the same anymore. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what it is. You know, I don't know if he can punch or not. Because, I mean, he fought Zhang and he fought Herndon. You know. But then again, this is a Wilder that hasn't been in the ring for a long time. You know? Dropping a belt makes a joke of the rankings. Well, I mean, if he gets knocked out by Wilder, the first thing people will say is he could have fought Wardley. You know? Herndon is a plumber. He probably literally is a plumber. You know, he might go to Vegas every so often, hang out, you know. He might, you know, go to his local gym, go a couple rounds, come out of there, go fix a toilet or some shit. You know, so. But I mean, they even stopped that, and I think they stopped it because it was getting embarrassing. Because Wilder couldn't belt. I mean, I think he, at one point, he threw so many punches that I think Herndon collapsed in the earlier rounds. And I believe he got him out in the 7th or 8th, but even when he hit him, he couldn't even, and he hit him flush. He couldn't do anything with Herndon. I don't know what was keeping Herndon up, or just maybe the punches weren't like they used to be. I'm not sure. The problem with Wilder is he wins. He got lucky. If Usyk wins, Wilder will say he hadn't fought for a few years. Well, that's all bullshit, because he just fought this year. You can't say I haven't fought in a few years. He hasn't fought consistently, but he's fought. He fought last year. He's fought this year. Now, did he fight in 2022? No. I thought that was kind of fucking weird. He didn't. But 23 he fought. Remember, he fought the Days of Reckoning. 24 he fought. And 25 he fought. So you can't say a few years. I mean, he's been in the ring. He just hasn't been active like he probably should have. But then we may be talking about a person that's comfortable. Wilder's probably comfortable with what the hell he's got, you know, especially someone that's coming from the background. And because when you hear Wilder, he's like, man, I'm truly blessed. That's what I am. I'm truly blessed. So I'm, you know, so if he's not hungry, he's probably not hungry. If he's making enough money, or he getting income that comes in from properties and teams and stuff like that, yeah, he probably don't want to do shit because he's already done shit. You know, he's surpassed way past his expectations. So if he has a little money in the bank, if he's good, he's good. Wilder ain't trying to, you know. In fact, Wilder, the last thing I heard of Wilder, he's trying to go into the film industry. So I'll probably see Wilder, and Wilder can just look at me and mug my ass all he wants. He'll maybe in a scene with me, with a movie. Can I hit him? Can I hit him? No, you can't. No, that's not in the script, Dante. I want to hit him. That's what I want to hit. Get Kurt. I want to hit him. Can you make it in the scene while I kick him in the nuts? He got on the wrong side of Wilder. If he doesn't want Usyk, he should quit. Yeah, well, then that should show you everything you need to know about Wilder. You know, Wilder, because that's what that puzzles me. There should be no reason he talks about if the fight don't happen. Even if it don't happen, the fight ain't happened yet. Like, if he's not talking the right way, bro. If he wants it, he's not talking like a fighter that wants it. That's all I'm gonna say. He's not fighting. He's not talking as though this is my last opportunity and I'm gonna make it my absolute best. I'm gonna give Usyk hell, and I'm gonna give Usyk a test. Bars. That's what we're not seeing from Deontay Wilder, and that's what bothers me about the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what bothers me about the whole thing. Because he's not doing or saying the right things. I would like to know a little bit more about it, and, you know, things happen in the business. I don't want to hear that bullshit, Deontay. You're just giving us a bunch of fucking bullshit on why it may not happen. Hence, you may not want it to happen based on the way you're talking. You're supposed to be talking it up, not talking it down. So when I heard that shit, I'm like, yo, something's up with that. I don't think he was prepared, and I really don't think he was expecting Usyk to actually call him. So he was probably in shock. If anything else, I think Wilder was in shock. You know what I'm saying? I think he was in shock. I think he was at a point like, oh shit, this motherfucker really called me out. Fuck. You know? And I don't know if he, you know, I don't really know if he was prepared for that. That's why I think he, responded like that, because he just really didn't know. See, anybody hungry like that, imagine you would have said that to Jarrell Miller. Imagine if Usyk said, I want to fight Jarrell Miller. Do you understand? Jarrell Miller would have been talking so much shit, he would have written a book by now. How the ways I'm going to beat Usyk, the Jarrell Miller story. You know? Not to mention the payday. Wilder ain't talking hungry. He ain't talking hungry. He's talking soft. Again, I think he's talking a bunch of bullshit. Usyk will knock Wilder out at this point. I mean, Usyk can knock a lot of people out. You know, but keep in mind, though, truth be told, that you got a southpaw. That would be crazy if Wilder was the one to do it. Wilder was the one that solved the problem that everybody in the UK couldn't do. Imagine that shit, man. Imagine AJ, Dubois, Fury that beat Wilder. None of these guys could beat Alexander Usyk. And it takes one guy from Alabama that fights pretty much with one fucking hand to solve the problem that everybody was trying to solve. I just find that hilarious. But it could happen because boxing is that way. Boxing is full of this irony, you know? That's one kick-ass Ukrainian. Yeah, man, he's a tough guy throwing Ivan punches and shit. And you know he worked on that shot. He said, "I'm going to hit him with Ivan. I'm hitting Daniel with Ivan." When Alexander Usyk said, he said it himself. He said, "Once I'm going to do more than beat Danny Dubois. If you guys can remember, I'm going to dominate Danny Dubois." And believe it or not, they got rid of Don Charles. Don Charles was just like, I felt so betrayed. They betrayed me. I couldn't understand it. And I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't understand it? Shit, everybody said as soon as you lose, you're done. Everybody said that. Spencer Farron said that. A lot of people said, man, as soon as he gets beat, they're gonna kick Don Charles' ass out of the gym. Here's your paycheck, and you can be on your merry way. Have a nice day. Your services are no longer needed in this gym with Daniel. And Daniel, he's still looking at his dad like, don't push the horses. I love Wilder, but that's not gonna happen. I heard what you've been saying about me, DeVille. What you have got to say now? Yeah, Wilder, he would. Wilder better back the fuck off. He ain't the old Wilder no more. That little skinny ass dude with the long hair looking like Milli Vanilli, you can get on with that. Now the old Wilder, I would probably be like, oh man, my bad. But this Wilder, this 40-something Wilder, nah man, you're a unk now that experimented with mind-altering drugs because you was heartbroken because your girl was cheating on you because she finally revealed her true colors. And that is in a nutshell. I'm sorry to say it, but that's pretty much what it is. She thought she was better than him, and she showed him how she felt she was better than him. Plus, Usyk conducts himself like a perfect gentleman, really decent guy. Wilder is 40 now, pretty old. It's all right. It's okay. But I don't think Wilder I don't think he would do that. I mean, but no, I mean, but here's the weird thing about movie sets. What happens on a movie set pretty much stays on the movie set unless paparazzi's there. You know what I mean? It has to be some kind of real popular movie. It can't be like the run-of-the-mill movie, because most of the times when someone walks by and like, hey, what are y'all filming? Rule of thumb, I always say it's a mayonnaise commercial or it's a mustard commercial. Oh, we're doing a commercial. And then they just move around. But if it was something big like Fear of the Walking Dead or The Walking Dead, which was a very popular show or shows, you may have those because you may have someone say something about something. Those Marvel shows are popular, like the Green Lantern DC was very popular, and they had paparazzi and they're taking pictures and shit like that. In fact, I knew a man, I'm not going to say his name, he got popular for that. And it catapulted his career, and he wouldn't shit in his career. Unless it's Michael Jai White. I mean, Michael Jai White, you don't want to run up on that guy. No. It will go 12 rounds, but Usyk will win most of them. Regards from John Fallon in Galway. John Fallon in the building. Counterpunch to you. I'm sorry, Galway. Not Galway, Galway. I always say that shit. Who was Mikey Garcia's coach? His brother. His brother was his coach. His brother and his father. The Garcias, Robert Garcia, the one that AJ hired for the second Usyk fight. Yeah, that guy. Usyk almost stopped Fury. Can you imagine what he would do to Wilder? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Usyk, the way Usyk trains, the way he's punching and knocking people out, He got the respect of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury no longer said that he can't punch no more. He, you know, that was the narrative. He's so small, he can't possibly beat me because I was in there with punches like Wilder, and you know, I'm fine. No, you got hurt all the same against a totally different fighter that wasn't Wilder. So I knew he was Garcia, just forgot his name was Robert. Rumor has it was on shrooms during AJ's fight. I don't know about that. But maybe. Don't you have groceries to put on the way, Kurt? Nah, not really. It's cold. Yeah, man. Fury comes back. How many tune-up fights? I don't know. Shit, it took him, what, Safari and Vianetta, and then Schwartz, and then Wileen. Then he fought Deontay Wilder. So, I don't know, 4 or 5? It's an Arctic freeze here in New York. Damn. Salute my brother. Blessings. Blessings to you, Quan Big Guns. Lucas B47F. If you really think how many times Fury actually retired is ridiculous. Yeah, that shit, it is kind of stupid though. It's kind of stupid. It is really kind of dumb the amount of times. It's just, I've never seen someone, you know what though? If he's trying to convince people that he has mental health issues, that shit's working. Because there's no way with somebody with good sense would retire and come back that many times, that to be that indecisive about one fucking thing. Are you going to keep fighting, or are you going to retire? What's it gonna be? You can't tell me that you got that much indecisiveness in your brain. That means you're either a retard, you know, or you have serious problems. And both of them are about the same. But there's another angle with Tyson Fury, though. Because, you know, Tyson Fury is known to be a great manipulator, but he's also smart. You know, the only reason Tyson Fury didn't get beat by Vladimir Klitschko, that's easy. He didn't fight him. He beat him the first time, sure he did. But the second time, he made sure he was nice and coked up, so he wouldn't pass that test. I think Tyson Fury knew exactly what he was doing when he took his ass there all sweating and, you know, coke all coming out his pores and shit. You know what I mean? He knew what he was doing, because he knew, well, there's no way I'm going to pass a test anyway, because I'm going to be high. Because I haven't trained. I haven't done those things to prepare myself. You know, I'm really Roberto Duran. I just said no mas before no mas. That's all it really was. He knew what he was doing. You know, now after that, I think, you know, he just kind of fell from grace, because he was like, hey, I've been doing this so long, you know. And maybe I think he might have tried to unalive himself or do something stupid, coming down off that stuff. So yeah, I think that's exactly what that was, man. To be fair, Sugar Ray Leonard retired a lot too. Well, he didn't retire. Look, he didn't come back after he got his ass whooped by Hector Macho Camacho, that bum. He was an underachieving guy, and the only reason he beat Sugar Ray was because Sugar Ray was so damn old and he was so young. You couldn't give him credit for that. That dude was tripping. He shouldn't have took a challenge against someone like Hector Camacho. Hector Camacho was just talking shit. You know who? You know why? What Hector really was, who he really was. He did the Jake Paul shit. He Jake Paul'd Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah. Hector Macho Camacho didn't beat anybody worthy of anything. What was fucking Hector Camacho's best win? There you go. Sugar Ray Leonard. You know? Don't call Hector a bum, Kurt. He's a bum. Who did he beat? Who did he beat? I know he fought everybody. But who did he beat? He lost to De La Hoya. Well, first of all, let's do it in order. He lost to Julio Cesar Chavez. Then he lost to Felix Trinidad. And both of those guys were young. They're both the same age. So he fought one, then he fought another, then he fought another. So Julio Cesar Chavez, legend. He got smoked by Chavez. Then he fought Felix Trinidad. Then he fought Oscar De La Hoya. So, I know he's passed on and stuff like that. But, Hector Camacho, he was more on some Aaron Hernandez shit, really. The shit that he would do, the stuff that he would get into. He was more on some criminal shit. That man was, Hector Camacho was more like Scarface, But as far as his boxing, I mean, he did what he did, but I mean, he I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's me. I hated the way he fought. I can't stand. That's why I don't like Devin Haney like that. Devin Haney, the way he fights scared. Anybody that fights scared, don't fucking fight. Go home. Be a coach. Just don't be scared. Don't fight scared. Don't be that dude that has to, let me throw a 1-2, and by God, let me grab on for dear life after I throw that 1-2 because I'm so afraid of what's coming back. I have no problem punching. I just don't like to get punched back. It's almost like, well, it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun type of shit. Trinidad was a nightmare. Beating AJ and Fury, who are both very limited, don't make you a GOAT of heavyweights, especially if you're a cruiser. Well, I mean, I don't know how they were limited. I think that was the best that the generation had to offer, as of right now. However, though, I do believe you have to keep doing that shit because there's always the next challenge. See, Muhammad Ali knew that. Evander Holyfield knew that. Joe Louis knew that. A lot of fighters knew that, hey, I beat this guy, but then there's the next guy right behind him. What we're seeing in boxing is, hey, you've done enough for the next 10 years. Hey, I've done enough to show that I'm the best. No, you haven't. You'll never do enough to show you're the best until you do it, until you retire. And then after that, then people can look at your career and see, hey, man, he did fight A, B, and C. Did he fight D, E, and F? No. A lot of people, they're worried about A, B, and C, man. Well, he fought these dudes and these dudes. Well, those dudes aren't D. Fun fact, True Geordie hates Devin Haney with a passion. I haven't seen True Geordie in a while. And it's crazy because normally he comes up on my feeds. I'm subscribed to him, but that just shows you what YouTube's doing. I used to see True Geordie all the time. I used to counter some of his videos. But I did see Bruce Vane talk about True Geordie. And I didn't look at that whole video, so I don't really know all the details of what True Geordie said versus what Bruce Vane said. I listen to a lot of people, and I think it's good to have different perspectives. I think it's good to have someone that at some point, I think what it is, you may agree with me on one fighter but disagree on another. Whereas you'll have another content creator that you may agree with but disagree with him on something else. I think that's what it's about. I think, at some point you can find a content creator that you do agree on his take or her take on certain things about certain fighters. You know what I mean? I always wanted to see Evander Holyfield versus Tim Witherspoon and Razor Ruddock. Tim Witherspoon had a great jab. People need to stop hating on Haney. He did better versus Norman. He was gun shy versus Ramirez. Now everyone hating on him. No, it ain't. You ain't been hating on him since then. Where the hell you been? People don't like Devin Haney because of the shit that he's done. And if that's not why they don't like him, it may be some other shit. But here's the thing. If you have legitimate reasons and you do bullshit and then people call you out on it and they stop liking you because of it, that's what it is. More than likely. See, Devin Haney, he fucked up first. He got beat by Ryan Garcia. We found out Ryan Garcia was juicing. Okay. You know, then he goes and tries to sue Ryan Garcia. But at that same time, you try to sue a guy that didn't decide to sue you when you slapped the shit out of him. You guys don't remember that. You guys remember that, right? Before they fought, Devin Haney was the one that got physical with Ryan Garcia. Now, if Ryan Garcia turned around and tried to sue him because you know you can't even push a fighter no more. Remember that? Like, people would get certain things. You know, I think Devin Haney pushed Lomachenko and then he got fined. You remember that? So you can't even do that type of shit no more. So, yeah, boxing's rules are getting soft, but that doesn't mean the fighters need to be soft with the rules, because Devin came off soft when he did some bitch shit like that. Hey, I'm going to sue you. So wait a minute. He didn't decide to sue you when he could have. When you nushed his ass in that face-off, you know. And also, he's doing some shit like, you know, they surround this one kid, and you seen the shit that happened at the fair. Okay, that happened. And then people were really looking at Devin Haney like, wait a minute, you know, Mr. Muslim brother, what the hell are you got going? You and your little hoodlums, you know, you fucking sucker punched one guy, because I seen the shit. You know what I mean? But then on another instance, you're trying to sue this other dude. You're trying to sue Ryan, a guy you shared a ring with. You know, like stuff like that, you know, made him look like a punk or a punk ass. Things that he did like that, you know. And I look at it, okay, I get it. He's a kid and, you know, he's trying to learn himself. But at the same time, bro, at the same damn time, you have to remember something, you know, what goes around comes around, you know. And then, you know, you really didn't beat Lomachenko. A lot of people think you lost. I think you lost. You know, I just knew that they weren't going to give it to Lomachenko because he's old, right? He's an older fighter that can no longer be marketed like a younger one. So that's why they gave the nod to Devin Haney, and Devin Haney was that guy. But he got his ass whooped, didn't he? By a juiced up ass Ryan Garcia, which he tried to sue, but nobody tried to sue him. So he just comes off. Then he fights. Yeah, he did fight gun shy. So now not only, see, at least Floyd Mayweather was entertaining to the degree that he was able to kick some ass and show you that he was better. He didn't hold like a bitch. He didn't throw punches and then grab on for dear life like he's trying to dance with a motherfucker. He's actually fighting. Devin Haney dropped Brian Norman and couldn't finish the job. Why? Why? Why couldn't he do that? Where he was that afraid of Brian Norman's punching power? You got punching power too, motherfucker. So why didn't you impose your punching power on someone that you know you were better than? He dropped Brian Norman and he could have finished him, and he didn't. He danced and he stayed back and he stayed too cautious. He showed lack of killer instinct, and that's why I don't like him. You know what I mean? I don't like him because the way he performs in the ring, he has a lack. He has something wrong with him. He's gun shy. He's still gun shy, even though he showed that he has guns. So you showed me that you can punch, and you still didn't want to close the show. He's an incomplete fighter with an attitude problem. Like he's just fucking, like your bravado don't match what you do in the ring. That's why I don't like Devin Haney, because his performances suck. You don't dance around like that when you drop the motherfucker in the second round. You get him the fuck out of there. You take him out. You give his ass the business. You don't fight scared still. You fight like, yo, I just put him on his ass. Now I'm going to put his ass away. That's what he does, and that's what he didn't do. But that's what he should have done. You know, so like you guys telling me about, oh man, Devin Haney. Yes, Devin Haney has fought everyone, but it's how he's fighting these guys. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's who you fight on top of what you do in the fight with them. Just because you fight everybody, if you fight everybody scared like a bitch, what difference does it make? It doesn't. It just means, well, I'm willing to fight everyone, but I ain't willing to, you know, throw those bows like I know to throw those bows. I'm scared. He's fighting scared and cautious. How the fuck are you going to market somebody like that? It ain't coming from a racist standpoint, because a lot of people like to pull that fucking card. Oh, it's racist. I'm a black man in America. Okay? So, I'm not a fucking Trumper. I don't give a fuck about Democrats nor Republicans. I don't care about any of them. So you can miss me with the Officer Tate. What's the other cocksuckers? What's the boys' names? The twin dudes. Fuck them too. I'm not any of those guys. I don't care about any of them. I care about boxing. I care about fighting the best. I care about doing the best. That's what I care about. I don't care about any of that other shit. So you can miss me with the race card shit, because I don't care if Devin Haney's black. You know what I mean? I don't like anybody that fights like that. Don't fight scared. Fight like you got some sense. Fight like you got some balls. You remember Hergovik said, I question his balls. Right? Fight like you got some balls. Don't fight like Shakur Stevenson. And even Shakur been showing me lately that he can fight a lot better than he's been. So he's improved. I'm always looking for improvement. And it just because I don't like Devin Haney now doesn't mean I won't like him later. But if he fights the same way, I'm going to feel the same way. And his skin color or nothing else about him, not even his father, because I like Bill Haney. I know Bill Haney. I respect Bill Haney. I respect what he did with his son. But even that won't get me to like how his son performs in the ring. Okay? Because it has nothing to do with nothing. Shakur Stevenson fights are boring. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he's a pure fighter. He's a pure boxer. You know, I think him fighting, I don't like Tio. I do not like Tio, because Tio is what? A racist. Him and his father. They will keep hating on Haney and Shakur, but they will keep winning. Okay, let them keep winning. Charlie Z was more entertaining than Devin. Charlie Z is not a real fighter. And Charlie Z has mental problems. Okay, so yeah, no. Caballo versus Moses Atoma. I mean, that fight will eventually happen. That fight will eventually happen. Nobody avoiding Caballo. Akali called him out and made a fight with nobody from Germany, who my 16-year-old would KO to sleep. I don't know. I remember Lawrence Brent calling him out, though. Charlo versus Crawford. Well. You know, I wonder if Crawford will fight Lara now by himself, just based on the fact that, you know, maybe that's what it's probably like a now it's getting hot, you know, crazy weather, man. But you know, for some reason, I would like to see Lara versus Crawford. I think Crawford stops Lara though, because I think Lara will then he'll get tired, and because he's older, you know. Even though Lara's in good shape for 42, 43, but you know, I mean, fighting someone like Crawford at this point, and Crawford is one of those special type of guys. See, when you train like that's what people underestimate about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather trained extraordinary. He wasn't just a shit talking brash guy from Michigan. No, he trained in ways that people don't understand. Above and beyond is something that's normal. You know, a lot of times, you know, when you hear Floyd, but when they're sleeping, I'm working. When they're sleeping, I'm working. They don't know what training is. I'm already beating them. I'm beating them in the gym. I'm up at 4 a.m. They sleeping in the bed. I'm up at 4, running, doing 20 miles. Boots should fight Madrimov. Yes, Bud would whoop Lara. Canelo should rematch Lara if he is a real man. Nah, bro, that shit's over. Lara, I'm gonna tell you what Lara did. Lara knocked out Canelo's brother. He knocked out his brother. So I think that was kind of like his, you know, gotcha bitch moment. Because, you know, Lara fought Canelo's older brother and knocked him out. Boots should fight Madrimov. You know, you got Mutataliev there. You got Boachuk there. Ortiz, I don't know what happened with the Ortiz fight, you know. Virgil, right? Yeah. Crawford is the best of this era. He is. You know, and I'm glad of what he did with the WBC. A lot of people, they're mad about that. I don't give a shit. He told the crooked ass WBC where to go. No, I'm not paying you money just to stay around in your club. Fuck you and your club. Your club ain't as cool as it supposed to be or as it led up to be. The last WBC mandatory fight was Fury versus White in April of 2022. So it should be Usyk versus Caballero for 2026. It's not going to be, because Mauricio Sulaiman doesn't follow his own rules. That's all. And he wants people to give him money for being that type of sanctioning body in the way they, or the lack of conduct or structure that they don't even practice. Why would I really want to pay you? I'd rather pay the IBO than you. You're not even going by your rules. I've heard Mauricio say some weird shit. He raised the level of what was Canelo on again? Clenbuterol? Yeah. So was it Clenbuterol? Yeah. So he raised the level. They're going to raise the level of the Clenbuterol because it is a known thing and calves and fuckers. We all appreciate Crawford for telling Mauricio what's up. Yeah, Mike, Mauricio's a Mexican businessman. That's all he is. You know, he doesn't follow his own rules. This motherfucker may have drug ties. You don't know nothing about Mauricio. Mauricio's one of those dudes. He talks like he's someone that will threaten you. If you keep starting this fight and you keep talking this, I will end this interview. You know. No, he meant to say he will end you. Keep talking. Who you think can replace the WBC, Mauricio? So I don't know, and I don't give a shit. I don't care about the WBC at all. You know, the WBC, for what we've seen them do over the years, right? We've seen them do nothing but stall, make exceptions. Like, we've seen them do things that other sanctioning bodies just don't do. Like the IBF and the WBC are like night and day. They're like night and day. One person says no, they'll say yes. The WBC will say yes, that's no problem. With Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, yeah, you can close the door. Yeah, put your seatbelt on. So, like, they allowed Wilder to do whatever the hell he wanted to do. They allowed Tyson Fury to do whatever the hell he wanted to do, right? They let Canelo Alvarez do whatever the hell he wanted to do. And why do you think that is? Why do you really think that's the case? It's the case because they favor the people that make the most money. You know, like you hear Mauricio saying, we want the right representative to hold and represent our belt. No, you want the motherfucker with the most money to represent your belt because they are paying the sanctioning that makes you feel a lot better. Okay? That's what this is about. This ain't about integrity and none of that shit. It's about who you are. How much seats do you feel when people pay to see you fight? Right? How much is your fight purse, sir? How much is that? That's what he cares about. That's what he wants. He wants some money. He wants percentages. And if you do that, he's going to, we're going to look for Tyson Fury. We know it's frustrating. He's looking for an opponent and he cannot find an opponent. Man, get the fuck out of here. How about the rankings? You remember your rankings? How about that? Mauricio, why you have a problem when you know problem you don't want to make? Mauricio talks a lot of bullshit to say nothing. He's a politician, man. He should run from he's a president of the WBC. He should run for the president of Mexico. I am now the president of Mexico, and we will tear down the wall because we think the wall is not a good thing unless Donald Trump gives us money. We want money in Mexico. If he does not give us money, we will not like him. That's Mauricio. Mauricio told Dillian White, if Dillian White keeps talking these things, We will freeze him out. That's what you've been doing. That's why he's talking shit, because you're freezing him out. You're not giving him the opportunities that he deserves. You know? Yeah, dude's, yeah, Mauricio, man. Nah. So, and Terrence just told him, you mean to tell me, because people are saying, oh man, Terrence is going to regret that. Why would Terrence regret that? Why? This man is at the end of his career. He just made $50 million, and he just told Mauricio Suleiman, no, Mauricio, I'd rather buy another fucking house and build it from the ground up than to give you that money so you can line your pockets with. I'm all for that. It would be different if Terrence Crawford was up and coming or in the prime of his life and all that. Man, Terrence don't give a shit. Terrence don't care about that belt. Terrence don't care about none of that. He's made enough money. He has enough money, right? And if he fights Canelo again, he's going to have enough money to tell all of them where they can go, you know? And you know what? If people could follow Floyd, Money Mayweather, by never fighting the top fighters or the tough fights and just fighting the fights that either make you the most money or the fights that are easier to make you look better, and everyone wanted to follow the Floyd Mayweather pattern, why can't we follow the Terrence Crawford pattern? And I think that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of people saying and doing what Terrence has just done. See, Terrence has told them, hey, you better slap yourself. I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not giving you shit for that belt, right? 300,000 plus another 100,000. That's damn near $500,000. To do what? To hang around the WBC to hold the belt at the house? How many belts do you think of the WBC that Terrence Crawford has at his home? He got those belts already. They ain't nothing but a bunch of trinkets and fucking trophies. What does it mean? Nothing. He got them at home. How many of them do you have to collect and give your money to these guys to get the same shit? They all look alike. What's the difference between the WBC heavyweight belt and the WBC interim belt? Not a fucking thing. They look just alike. One that Dillian White had when he was the interim WBC heavyweight champion versus the one that Deontay Wilder had when he was the WBC champion. They were both alike. There was no difference between those two. So no, I don't think so, man. You know, Terrence is just being realistic. Mike Tyson said it best. All these fights, all these belts are nothing but garbage. I can't feed shit with them. I can't feed my kids with these belts. They can't. And then you give them all this fucking money. I could be doing everything with anything else with this, you know. It's true. It's a sham. They just brainwash these fighters. They risk their lives, getting in the ring, getting their heads beat in and all that shit, getting hit to the stomach, pissing blood, all for a belt that don't really fucking matter. Just say, hey, I'm a champion. But here's the problem. The WBO, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, the IBO, the Ring Magazine. You got all these damn belts. So who's the champion? So when you finally get a chance to call yourself a champion of one of those sanctioning bodies, then what? Now you got to become the unified champion. Now you got to collect every belt. Now it's all a big bunch of bullshit. And I think that's what people are afraid of. That's why Oscar is coming out all of a sudden. First, Oscar De La Hoya was like, Mo, the WBC, you have to pay their sanctioning fees. So, you know, the Ring Magazine, they don't charge anything and they're the real belt. Then Terrence said that. Now he all of a sudden, Terrence, why don't, well, wait a minute. Didn't you say you would rather buy your belt from the market than to pay those sanctioning fees? You know, it's just a bunch of bullshit, man. They know what they're doing. And Terrence is just telling them, man, I ain't paying you shit for them belts. Fuck them belts. I got enough of them. I don't want to pay you. You know? I whooped Canelo's ass. He had them all. I whooped his ass. I took them all. And I'm not going to pay you to have them. The end. And I think Mauricio, there's nothing he could really do. And if anything, it's making the sanctioning body weaker or less significant, because once you see people saying, man, I ain't paying for that shit. Other fighters are, let's say an up-and-coming fighter gets a fight purse of $2 million. And then the WBC says, oh, well, you have to pay your sanctioning fees, you know, for $200,000. And then he looks at that $200,000 is like, well, man, I just paid taxes on this $2 million. So that's left me with $1.2 million because of the taxes that I had to pay on it. Then I had to pay my camp, you know. Now you want me to pay you $200,000? You know, and it gets to a point where you're like, look, man, I ain't doing that shit. I'm going to be like Terrence Crawford, and I ain't paying y'all shit. That's what it comes down to, you know. So yeah, Terrence is a threat to their way of life, because if they can no longer brainwash these fighters into fighting for these trinkets, they're in trouble. That's why they were so afraid of the Dana White Turkey Al-Sheikh thing, because they thought that Dana White was going to come, which he bought the Ring magazine, right? So they thought that, uh-oh, if Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White come together and make a whole federation for boxing, they may X us out. It may be like Netflix and Blockbuster. Where the hell is Blockbuster now? That was the biggest damn movie house damn near worldwide, right? I know it was nationwide. You don't see that shit no more. They got one Blockbuster Video, and it's in a place in Oregon. Jimmy, get somebody get Jimmy's ass out. Come on, man. Get Jimmy ass out of here. I'm driving. I ain't got time to be taking his ass out. But yeah, get him out. Skrilla 50, where you at? Because you got people to jump on my lives. I'm like, man, I know all the trolls. The troller's ball. Skrilla 50, appreciate you. Get his ass out of here, because I mean, he keeps spamming like that. I can't even read the comments. My bad. I wasn't delivering. I was delivering email. I was delivering mail. Gotcha. That's how you know, Kurt. They get none. Yeah, I guess. Dudes are tripping. No, Mauricio, man, he's, you know, they're gonna be mad, and you know, I'm like the WBC. You know, it used to be once upon a time something worth holding, but it ain't no more. 3-belt era. That's all right. I mean, that's how it was when, you know, when Lennox Lewis was around. The WBC are a disgrace for this behavior. I mean, they've been a disgrace. They're just mad because they ain't getting paid. But see, Terrence Crawford is not the only person that did that shit. He's the only person that has been powerful enough to say what it is. Like, Cotto did that. Cotto said, man, I'm not fighting Gennady Golovkin. And he dropped the belt. A lot of people do that, man. They didn't just make a spectacle of that then, and plus social media wasn't as powerful in like 2009 as it was now. 2010, 11, you know. Because Gennady Golovkin was the mandatory for that belt that Cotto got off of Sergio Martinez for beating Maravilla, right? He beat Maravilla, upset Maravilla. And, you know, instead he fought Canelo and got paid. I think he got like $15 million to fight him. Cotto's good. You'll catch Cotto at a basketball game looking all serious and shit. This John Doe with 5 burner accounts needs to stop mentioning my name. I don't care about their opinion. Well, if you don't care about their opinion, stop mentioning that you care or don't care about their opinion. You know, I don't care about their opinion. But do you or you don't? Kurt, who is worse, the WBC president Mauricio or Don King? They're both friends, you know. How old is Mauricio? Like late 60s, mid 60s? Crawford exposing them WBC real bad. The WBC is way worse than the WBA. Well, it may just be a matter of time when everyone wakes up and says, you know, what the hell we need to pay them for? You know? Like Terrence Crawford said, he said, dude, you should be paying me for holding your shit. You should supposed to be sponsoring me for what I do in the ring. I put my life on the line, not you. He just got pragmatic with the truth. The truth hurts sometimes. That big sham, you know, it was a big sham. It is what it is. You know? Have a great day at work.
Thank you.
All right. Did you see Jake get a friendly one from Macaulay? Yeah, I posted the video yesterday. Yeah, he's been Macaulay's been beating his ass up. Yeah, I've been breaking him off. I've been breaking Jake Paul off. Pause. I've been breaking him off a bit, yeah. I've been breaking him off a bit. He's 55? Jesus. Is he really? Dude, he looks older than that, bro. I don't know. He used to be a fat dude, though. Like, Mauricio used to be kind of heavy. You know, now he's lost some weight, I guess, you know. I guess he's worried about, you know. But he is still a viejo. You know, he's a viejo. So, Crawford, Jake, bad that he deserves a lot of respect. Well, truth be told, man, I mean, Canelo's made a lot of money. Canelo, you know, I don't understand what the issue is and the fallout between Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez. I just don't see it. And if I'm Oscar, I understand why Oscar doesn't like Canelo. I just don't understand why Canelo doesn't like Oscar. Canelo has made so much money with Golden Boy. You guys forget he signed that $365 million deal when he was with who? Golden Boy. Oscar De La Hoya. Yes, they made each other a lot of money. He was the promoter of De La Hoya, of Golden Boy. He was he was the face of Golden Boy, and he made a lot of money with and for Golden Boy. So I don't know why Canelo, you know, is, you know, I would like to just talk to him like, yo, because he's talking about, oh, he stole money, he did this and did that, and like, you know, Oscar's like, I ain't steal no fucking money from you. I ain't Don King. Hell, I protected you, if anything, like a big brother or a father figure or someone, you know, like a senior man versus a junior man. Do Lawrence Ocalee is a traitor for helping Jake Paul? It depends. You know, if he's beating him up, probably not now. I'm looking at now, I see it, and you're beating up Jake Paul. Jake Paul has black eyes. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting punched. He's beating the shit out of Jake Paul. That big, tall, long, rangy motherfucker is sitting back and catching Jake Paul with those angles that Jake Paul can't handle because Jake Paul's he's not accustomed to that shit. Which is good, though. You need to give Jake Paul good work. He needs to give him good work. Because if he don't, he's not going to be prepared for AJ when AJ catches him you know, with no protection, without headgear. He's gonna have to know what that punch feels like. Because if he doesn't, you know, if they pull the wool over his eyes and, oh man, they take it easy on him because he wants to be a prima donna, he's gonna surely get knocked the F out. Right? So yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. Lawrence Okolie might tell Anthony Joshua on the phone everything and text him. Why wouldn't he? He might. Yeah, you know, AJ, you know he jumps in like a rabbit. He jumps in like a rabbit. Yeah, he jumps in off the pivot. When he's outside, he just jumps straight in. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It's mad. I can see that. They sitting back talking about Jake. Jake's forking over all this money, you know. You know, and it's crazy though. But you know, Jake's gonna be okay because see, the thing is, Jake, if he gets knocked out, he's not finished. I just don't want the dude hurt though, seriously. Because if man AJ catches him like he caught Ngannou, imagine Jake Paul lay it all out. He's a kid, bro. He's young. You don't want to see him all jacked up. You don't want to see him. I don't want to see Jake Paul in 20 years looking like Mickey Rourke. I don't want to see that. Then Mickey's all fucked up. You know? Look at this guy. For sure, he would never say that to my face. Oh my God. But anyway, Kurt, give me your PayPal. Chris Lees. Hold on a second. I'm driving at the moment, Chris. You know what? I'm going to email you the PayPal link when I get to where I'm going. Can you imagine if Muhammad Ali was in this era? He would curse WBC President Suleiman out. Well, he would probably tell him something that he probably don't want to hear. Definitely. Mauricio, I know what you've been doing, sucker. You've been taking money off the top. You've been skimming, sucker. I see you. Your daddy would be ashamed of what you're doing. What are you talking about, Mohammed? I am not skimming money. I know you skimming money. I know you is. You gonna sit here and lie to me? You gonna lie to my face? Which WWE superstar is this? I have no idea. Yeah, it's crazy. It's hot on the inside, but cold on the outside. It's crazy. We'll be on the 22nd. Okay. Hi, Kurt. In all, I'm about to go flat, but just caught this. Hi, all. Touch glove 705 in the building. Counterpunch to you. Kurt, did you agree with the draw versus Roach? You know what, man? I hear people talk about that fight. They're gonna fight again, so I don't think it matters at this point. Pitbull is always gonna come to fight. Roach, I'm disappointed in him because see, Roach, that should have been enough to do what he needed to do. You know. I knew what you were thinking. He's gonna hack me or something. Man, it's crazy, man. This phone. That was. I never went through nothing like that, man. I never went through something like that. That's why people are talking about the Ike Bucci fight. I'm like, nah. I'm not buying that unless it's on the Zone or something like that, which it won't be. It would be for some kind of janky ass pay-per-view link. You know? So. AJ will chin Jake Paul real bad. Touch Gloves coming in with that 5-pound love from above. Bars. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Look at this. But no, man, I do think that Terrence Crawford made a bold statement with that. You know? But like I told you guys, man, like when you got all these belts in boxing, it's exactly like the field I was in, man. I used to love being a penciler. I used to have my own comic books. You know, I had characters that I made. I had a whole universe. You know what I mean? I had a whole universe of different, you know, characters. And they were all connected, but they're in different places in this universe. Oh God, man, I had some really good ideas, and it just hit me of like the particular characters I had, you know. And but then like I loved comic books, you know, because that's, you know, what kind of drove me to want to be a penciler or an inker, you know, for DC Comics or Image. I could probably start with something small and then promote myself and get another contract, you know. So, but I mean, it like when they started, because I don't, which comic was it? But they started that shit. They, you know, the blue label, the red label, the gold label, the silver, the platinum. I'm like, why would you have this many type of comic books and it's all the same damn book? And that's when shit started going belly up right there. So they used to do some reprints like on old comics. I'm like, okay, that's kind of dumb too, because it's like, I get, you know, the reprints, but because they're trying to resell, but they're not, you know, nah, man, it's just crazy. Double-sided though, give it time. Is there any way we can see your artwork, Kurt? Oh, you know what? When I find some, because needless to say, man, some of my stuff was destroyed or thrown away. Tell you guys a jacked up story, right? I might have been 14 at the time, maybe 13. I had this thick sketch pad, and in this sketch pad I had all the ideas, or a lot, and I had illustrations in there that I was in love with. I loved the way I did them, and you know, because we didn't have graphic art design then, not like that. We had pencil and paper and ink. You know, I had a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, shout out to Tony Relaford. He did it all. He did the pencil, he did the inking of the penciling, and he did the colors. And he was damn good too. It's like, damn, you know, he brought that to a whole nother level. But then I had that sketch pad, and one day a fire alarm went off. And you know, the fire alarms, you bring nothing with you. You take out, everybody goes outside. And I should have brought it with me, but I didn't. When I come back to the room, my shit's gone. Somebody stole my fucking sketch pad. And the crazy thing was, I think it was like someone told me that, oh, it was Lindsey Jones. Lindsey Jones, I think she was I think she was from like Denmark or some shit like that. Or her mom was. She spoke with an accent, but she used to draw. And because she used to draw, I think she took the bag. I think she took it. She stole it. And another guy named Ernie Reyes, oh yeah, I seen it, man. I seen it in some place. And then I start thinking about it. If you seen it, why are you just now telling me about it? If you seen what you say you claim you saw, oh yeah, I think she threw it away or something like that, and I could never prove who did what. But now looking back at it, probably all of them had something to do with it because all of them drew. So, shit like that pissed me off because, one thing about thieves, I hate thieves, and I'm not, the concept of taking something from someone, personal stuff, I have a real bad problem with. Now, don't get me wrong, like someone I would rather you steal something than to beg me for it. I hate beggars, like people on the street that beg and shit, because most beggars though are low-key peddlers. So if you want to talk about something that grinds my gears, is someone that you have people like that and they're professional beggars, but then those are the biggest con artists, the crooks. And that's really low key what Mauricio is doing. If you want to get back to that, so I don't like people that beg. I don't like people that, plead for money and, you don't have a job and you're not trying to do shit. And that's your job, begging other people for something that they work hard for. I don't like that shit. But when you steal someone's stuff that like sentimental stuff, it belongs to them. That's one thing. A person running out of the store of Walmart stealing something, that's different because that's a corporation. I don't give a shit about big corporations because there is a such thing that they understood in business is called shrinkage. So that's mostly shrinkage, theft. So, I don't really care for, my heart don't bleed for like, oh, Amazon got robbed or no, I don't care about that. Don't hurt anyone when you do it. But no, but when you steal something from someone, that's bad. That's where I have a problem with. Running out of Walmart with a kitchen dustpan. That's crazy. It's happened. We need Wilder versus Miller before they retire. That ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. I mean, and I think Miller runs right over Wilder. I think Miller would run right over Wilder now. Wilder doesn't have the punching, I don't think, I would like to say that he does, but there's no evidence that says that he still has it, Did you see Hatman yesterday on Fury comeback announcement? No, but I do have, let's see. I do have a video about Tyson the Gypsy King, and it's almost to the point. Like, I don't. Like, at this point, it's not breaking news. It's just the same news. Same old news. Tyson Fury returns back to the ring. I've done a video on it yesterday. I may have 5 videos that I haven't posted yet. Probably another Fury hating video. Probably so. He does not like Tyson Fury. He does not like Luke Partridge. That's what he calls him. Luke Partridge. Luke Partridge. I'll tell you. What a sham. Him and Spencer Brown, that leech. I don't like him at all. I think he's the biggest fraud in heavyweight boxing, let alone UK boxing. No one liked Luke Pard at all. I wouldn't say that though, because after all, I think that people liked Tyson Fury for what he did with Wilder, but what it was with Wilder, Wilder was just disliked for either two or three reasons. One, he was brash and he was outspoken. Two, he was arrogant and he was delusional. Three, he was probably black and they were probably racist. You know, you always have to look at that one because I mean, those were the three. Just people didn't like him for what he stood for or him for how he thought, you know. And the racist one, that was one of the ones that they didn't like, especially someone outspoken. So if you have a problem with someone's skin color, just whoever you are, then you hear a guy with the opposite, with that skin color that you don't like, and that person's arrogant, and that person's delusional, and that person, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're really not gonna like that person. So I think Tyson Fury got a lot of fans when he returned back to the sport because he was able to beat Wilder. He was able to solve the Wilder problem. Because see, Deontay Wilder was an undefeated guy for a very long time. He was like what, 40-0 almost. What? Wasn't he 40-0 when he first took that ass whooping from Tyson Fury in 2020? Right? He said, I don't like him because he said I'm God. Well, that's why Tyson Fury didn't like him. You know what's funny though? I was talking to an ex-girlfriend. I got a lot of ex-girlfriends, man. So, but I was with her and we were watching Tyson Fury, the face-off with Deontay Wilder. And it was the face-off in the first fight where Tyson Fury was like, look, I look at no alter egos. I look at no ancestral things. I just need the power of God Almighty. That's my deity. And I thought we were, the same, but now I know we're miles apart. So, like things like that. And, she's real, how do you say? She's real godly, so to speak. So she really liked Tyson Fury and stuff like that. And I'm not a spoiler, so she was like, well, who won, Kurt? Who won? And I was like, well, you got to watch it. You know what I mean? So we sat there and we watched the fight and stuff like that because it's crazy. We were somewhere in a garage just kind of just chilling one night and we saw it and she really liked it and she got into it for a while and stuff like that. But yeah, Tyson Fury didn't like him because of that reason or whatnot. But, don't worry. That ass whooping made Wilder a Christian again. You give God the glory, he's going to give you the victory. Kurt is the ladies' man. I used to be. I'm just really, it's just slowed down a lot with that type of stuff. A confident Joshua destroys Fury. You're all banged up with a cold. You're all banged. I'm getting over one. Kind of congested, but I'm feeling a lot better. I have no aches and no pains. I just left the gym and then went to the grocery store and then bought my stuff. And I got everything except the olive oil. So I may have to go back to the store, get some more olive oil because I don't like to use other types of oils, unless it's like avocado. I do have some olive oil for my air fryer. But other than that, good stuff. Stay strong and warm. Kurt, what's your opinion on Lennox versus Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury? Man, Lennox would beat up Tyson. He would beat up Tyson. I mean, because I don't think Tyson hits hard enough to keep Lennox off of him. And see, Lennox was very aggressive. And looking at how Lennox handled fights, he was a very good fighter. I just didn't like him as a fighter. I just didn't. I didn't like him because I liked Mike Tyson. Something crazy about eras though. Like if I would have had a YouTube channel then, I would probably have a whole different audience because I did not like Lennox Lewis at all. I didn't like him at all. And I was a huge Mike Tyson fan. Evander Holyfield was okay, But I was a huge David Tua fan. I loved Mike Tyson, and that was in the heavyweight division. Riddick Bowe was all right. I found out later on he was more like a kind of a dickhead bully, but Big Daddy or whatnot. But other than that, I just that was heavyweights. I mean, I knew who the up and coming guys, Lawrence Claybays and the Lamont Brewsters and the Clifford Etiennes and the Frezzo Kendos and the Chris Birds and the Hasim Rahmans. These were all fighters that were in the late 90s that were up and coming. They were all undefeated until they weren't, right? So like I paid attention to heavyweight boxing, but like the premier weight classes were at welterweight. It was about the De La Hoyas and uh, even the Marco Antonio Barreras, the Eric Moraleses, the Juan Manuel Marquez. He was there, but he wasn't as known as those other guys until he finally got his victory in 2012, which was much later in time than guys like Marco Antonio Barrera or Eric Morales, Diego Chico Corrales. These guys were those guys, you know? Do you not seriously fear for Jake? Yeah, I fear for his hell. I don't want him hurt, man. I don't want Jake hurt because, I mean, what good would it be if you know, fair opinion, Kurt. I respected that, but I still think Fury would knock out Lennox and worse than Rockman. I don't think that he would. I don't think that he has the punching power like that to hurt Lennox. I could be wrong, but I think Lennox smokes Tyson Fury with that jab, bro. That and he leans into his punches, bro. If he caught Tyson, he would knock out Tyson Fury, bro. Lennox Lewis would destroy Tyson Fury. He would beat the shit out of AJ too. Like Lennox Lewis was, and like, yeah, he wasn't nobody to play with, bro. Lennox was a big dude. He properly, organically grew into his body. He was slender. He was thinner at one point when he had the flat top, and then he started to fill out when he started letting his hair grow. But he was no joke, man. Lennox Lewis would knock you out. See, not only could Lennox outbox you like he did David Tua, but he could knock you out like he did in the second fight with Rahman. Or like he did with Tyson. He beat the shit out of Mike Tyson. That hurt my fucking feelings. When he beat Mike Tyson, when he whooped Mike Tyson like that, and he had both of his eyes were bleeding and they were cut, and his nose was bleeding and his mouth was bleeding. Mike Tyson was bleeding everywhere and he was getting picked apart. And then he got knocked out. So not only did he take an ass whooping, he took an ass whooping, then he got knocked out. I mean, just Lennox Lewis was, and I just couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand Lennox. If he wants to test, I'll put him to rest. If he gets past, he has to first get past my jab, and then after the jab, he has to get past my right hand, and I don't think he gets past either. I was like, dude, I can't stand your ass. But Lennox Lewis was kicking ass, bro. Lennox Lewis kicked that. That's why I was so happy when Rahman dropped him, bro. I was like, yeah, yeah. I was drinking my ass off laughing, man. Too many casuals here, but I respect that. But it was late. It was too late for Mike. Yeah, it was. It was. Floating rib shot. Lennox Lewis, man. Lennox couldn't stand my ass either, though. It's okay. At least someone that, and I respect that about Lennox. Lennox don't like me for shit. I reached out to Lennox Lewis on Instagram. Lennox Lewis looked at the he looked at the message, and then he was just like, fuck him, but I think, yeah, that was after I talked to Spencer, and Spence was like, yo, cut Lennox, Lennox doesn't like you. He doesn't like you, man. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, he said he's flaky, man. I don't like him. I think he's, that kid Kurt DeVille. I think he's flaky, man. Think he's a flake. Nah. Just to call me flaky, I don't like him. You know, that's something I don't say shit like that. Flaky. Motherfucker, what? What does that mean? You know? But yeah, Lennox Lewis, man, he could back up the chat. Yeah, he could. Yeah, Lennox Lewis, man. If I seen Lennox Lewis, I wouldn't say nothing to him, probably. Unless I was drinking or something. And that's pretty, you know, and then I'd probably get punched. You don't want to get knocked out by Lennox Lewis, man. Lennox Lewis can throw one shot, and then he's still tall, and he's always a big dude, you know. There would be no good outcome of that encounter with Lennox Lewis. There wouldn't be. Because, like, let's say I attacked Lennox and somehow, you know, hurt him or harmed him. Well, now I'm just a punk ass because I'm a lot younger than Lennox. So you lose. Or you piss him off and he fucking jabs you and gives you a two-piece out of this world. You end up on the floor. You wake up. You know, your face is looking all, you know, smushed in and busted and bleeding. Then you got knocked out by a what? A 60-year-old. You know? Touch Glove 705. Appreciate the love from above. Imagine Lennox Lewis against Wilder. No. Don't be hitting Lennox. He's got health issues and you'll get sued. I probably wouldn't hit Lennox unless he said something stupid. But I mean, I would just walk away. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, dude. You know, I wouldn't fight Lennox. You know what I mean? I would never fight. I would not, like someone like Tyson. I wouldn't try to fight Tyson. I don't want to fight him. You know? The hell would I look like fighting someone like Tyson? That's like my idol and shit. I wouldn't want to do that, man. I'm not that type of person. Because you got a lot of punk ass people or egotistical mindseted people that just, they like the idea because something with, you know, with their own insecurity, they just, you know, oh yeah, I think that, you know, y'all fight this dude or whatever. And I'm like, no, man, you know. And you know something about boxers. There's a lot of boxers that get shot just based on fear. You know, they're intimidating. You know, Vernon Forrest was killed. Julian Lederlow was killed. He was shot. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was shot. You know, these guys, you know, I mean, they... You know, people fear, you know, they don't want to take an ass whooping from a boxer. You know, they know, yo, this dude can break my face. So they'll pull out a gun, you know, especially a gun-toting state like Texas in the South. Yeah, you know. Lennox has a gym in Jamaica. There was a video where Bruno was invited. Yeah. I wasn't invited. He didn't invite me. He was like, well, Cut, he doesn't like you, Cut. Yeah, I know. I heard about that. You know, and Lennox actually, he trains with the younger kids, which is good. You know. I did hear about that. Lennox Lewis versus Larry Holmes, prime for prime. I don't know, man, because Larry Holmes probably had one of the best jabs ever. You know, all that sparring with the GOAT, pretty interesting, man. Pretty interesting, dude. Lennox rocks up to the set. What you saying about? Yeah, what you saying about, man? I wouldn't talk shit, man. I'm like, hey, man, you know, I would be like, hey, which time, you know? Which time? Because of, you know, you're a legend. And I would tell them, it's things I didn't like that you did. So, I mean, it is what it is. Kurt, salute. I'm out. I can't stand this troll here. He is talking so much nonsense. I thought you didn't care what he said, man. You can't let people get to you like that. You cannot let people get to you like that, Quan Big Guns. If I say what I really think of you, YouTube will block me. How many cribs do you've got? I don't know, man. A couple, few, you know? Anthony Joshua versus Frank Bruno. But they're in different states. So right now I'm in Texas. You know, that's why people ask me, like, hey, where do you live? Properties. Favorite state? It used to be Florida, but then, you know, I don't know. See, I don't like Texas because let's say I want to drink. If I want to drink, I want to be either in another country or Louisiana. Louisiana is probably the best state to drink in. Probably not the healthiest, but I do think that I miss New Orleans, man. I really miss New Orleans. That's why I want to get hired there and, you know, get a job so I can go back there, eat some oysters. Yeah, I think that yeah, man, New Orleans. But Texas is cool. It's just Texas has so many, you know, restrictions. Kurt, go to France if you like to drink. All right. Can you please tell everyone to follow me, please? I'm mad boxing fan #1 for Frankie Stringer, Liverpool boxer. Oh, man. At Shay.Mundo123, people go to support this man's channel. Yeah, dude. Oh, no. Okay. So I'm excited. I got this that came in. Golden Steer. Now, this stuff here is for seasoning. It's a salt and pepper season blend, right? I should have picked up some beef tallow too. Kurt, my wrench gone. No, it's not. I see it. It says touch glove 705 with the wrench right beside it. I don't know, man. YouTube's probably going through something right now, but no, it's not gone anywhere. Not that I know of. What do you think about the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua? It's a money grab. Man, I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at any money grab because, I mean, who did you expect AJ to fight? He could have fought, yeah, he could have fought anyone else. But shit, what's Usyk doing? Usyk's pretty much doing the same thing. There we go. YouTube needs to just do it right. Stop messing. Well, nice. Recipes. I can't believe I actually made Quan run. It's bad, man. I'm backing Jake Paul versus Joshua. Okay. So, if you guys were wondering, these are chuck eye steaks, right? This is the meat right beside the ribeye, the chuck eye. And I love this cut of steak. It's the right type of marbling. If you look at it, it's the right type of marbling. And I'm going to put some on. Gonna get her done. Uh-oh. So rosemary, garlic, and this new blend, Golden Steer from Las Vegas. Okay. So we get to have some good stuff going. You eating all that? Nah, man, I'm not gonna eat it all. I'm gonna probably cook 2. I might cook 3, but I'm not gonna eat them all right now. I'm just gonna eat 1, and I got some potatoes I'm gonna eat with it, and some avocado on the side. That's it. That's all. Water. Put some cocaine on it. Yeah, right. Who do I look like, Parker over here? No. No, I don't think Parker did that though, man. I don't think Parker did that. I think they set Parker up, but they didn't like Parker being in the position that he was in, so they had to kind of, you know, put him. Ooh, these are nice. You know what though? These are too thick. So what I'm going to do? See, look how thick that is. That's thick, bro. I'm going to fillet this because Parker is innocent in my opinion. Like I told you guys, I don't know if you've seen that video that I released earlier. Parker. If I'm Parker, I'm just not going to let that go. I mean, he's taking it well, though, bro. I would be pissed. I would be pissed off. But he's talking about my name's going to be cleared. He was confident. He was sure. He was sure of like, hey, this is what's going on. Just contamination, you know. And it's crazy because that's the same thing a lot of people are saying. And I've talked to a lot of people in the boxing world, you know. And if you guys must know, you know, I will put some like Mrs. Dash on it, garlic and herb. This is a big cut. This is a big cut. This shit looks like a bat. Cause the way I filleted it, look how I filleted this. Look. I have filleted this to perfection. According to him anyway, touch gloves. I wouldn't as he is involved in meth back in the day. Yeah, I hear that stuff. I'm hearing the meth stuff, you know, and I'm hearing about all this and that. But I mean, his name was mentioned, but I mean that could have been just somebody just trying to get time and trying to, you know, create a narrative because they knew they were going to jail for a long time. I think it was one of those things. So, Joke's not knocking out AJ. Jake's not knocking out AJ. I think it would be pretty good for boxing if Jake knocked out AJ. I still remember that coward AJ squared up to those students that doesn't sit with me well. Only a coward would do that. Oh, I remember that. They was talking shit about AJ though, man. Oh, this is nice. AJ, worst chin. Not quite. No. He ain't got the best, but he's far from the worst. Anthony Joshua will become a heavyweight champion again. Mark my words. Anthony Joshua. Parker got messed up hanging with Fury. Now, well, what if he didn't? What if he didn't? There is too much opportunity for others. Oh, yeah, let me. Paul is safe. They will have a tight contract. Parker been in Ireland, nowhere near Fury. I just wonder where all this contamination stuff comes from. Chris Lee, I just emailed you my information, my PayPal. See, the 22nd, I heard that. Parker isn't having a second run anymore, is he? I don't know. I hope so. Why is someone who ducked Fury and Wilder getting 92 million? I don't understand that. Not hating on AJ, but did AJ did well to fool all of his fanboys. Yeah. Well, I think that's a loaded question there, guy. Cool. What else we got? It says, yes, it was only AJ sending out offers. Yeah. Man, Hey man, that's an argument that I don't have the energy to even discuss right now. But I'm gonna tell you what, I gotta do some cleaning up. I do have videos to come out, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me yet again. Until the next time we will see each other live, everyone has been Counterpunch. Peace. You say, do you smoke weed at all, Kurt? For like recovery? Nah, I don't. Nothing in these lungs but air. But anyway, see you guys on the next one. Be good, be blessed. Peace.